Not all RPGs need to have extensive pages, long lore, and particularly complex rules to evoke a sense of excitement and anxiety in the player characters and GM. In the case of The Dark Room, this solo RPG is about the trials and tribulation of rediscovering yourself emotionally and mentally, and for that very reason, I think deserves to be talked about. So today, I'll be discussing my experience playing The Dark Room. I'll be discussing its mechanics, style, and my personal takeaways. And by the end of this video, hopefully you'll have another solo RPG that you'll love and you might get to learn a little bit about yourself. So, The Dark Room is a solo journaling role-playing game created by the Sweet End. This game was created with the Fireflight's creator kit by Fari RPGs. This game is about rediscovery of yourself, to embrace your past and escape from a dark room. Your character, or yourself, wakes up in a dark room, a space you put yourself in to protect yourself from emotional and mental harm due to your character's past. However, you have to escape. So, your character sets off into the Labyrinth, a bizarre world inhabited by mystical butterflies. This labyrinth has infinite lands and many landscapes, but seemingly no life. But, escaping into the labyrinth means facing your fears and the variety of shades that come with that journey. Good thing for this journey, you don't need a lot of materials. All you need for this game is 1. A deck of 52 cards without the Joker card. This is referred to as the story deck. 2. 2d6 dice, aka known as the action dice in this RPG. 3. A notebook or journal of any kind. You could even use a digital notebook or a word pad or a word doc, whatever you have on hand. 4. Some index cards. And 5. Tokens of any sort. Those could be miniatures or anything you really want. However, just note, I didn't use the last 2 items, say the index cards and the tokens, simply because I didn't see any point to them, so it largely depends on your playstyle and your choices. This game is pretty freeform, so you can use what you want, or add as you want. So you can see this game is not about defeating monsters or gathering treasure. The game is about, as I've said before, self-discovery and dealing with your past trauma. And the mechanics lead into that. Firstly, you need to draw 2 cards from your story deck. In this case, I drew a king and an ace. Next, you roll and sum your 2 action dice. For example, I rolled a 4 and 2 in this, giving me a 6. Next, I add my modifiers to that roll. You can assign +2, +1, and a 0 to these modifiers, or as they're called, approaches: forceful, patient, and quick. From there, you compare the number you rolled to the number that's generated from the story deck. For example, I rolled a 6 and I used my forceful approach, giving me an 8. However, I rolled a king and an ace. A king is a higher number, as shown in the PDF, than a 8. Thus, I get a void when I go to Finding Yourself section, which is the last part to role-playing the game. Afterwards, when you go to the Finding Yourself section, the game has rules on building a world from using your story deck, but I didn't personally use that. I just thought it was too confusing since I was already balancing all these other materials, but try it for your game. And once you go to the Finding Yourself section, depending on your roles, you either choose between light, shade, and void. Essentially, light being a positive effect, shade being a complicated effect, and void being a negative effect to your character as they explore the labyrinth. Finally, if you are looking for inspiration, the game has an amazing table to help you get started journaling as you rinse and repeat this cycle, which ends when you either A, run out of story deck cards, or B, max out your fear. The beauty to this game lies in the energy and emotions it can bring out. I think the highlight of the game, as I briefly mentioned, is the table. These lists of prompts can really get a story going. They detail a region, a butterfly encountered, an event that takes place, and a story related to it. They are vague enough for the player to get writing and use the words there for inspiration. The choice in setting adds to that. I think the game's balance of journaling through a labyrinth calls on a character to deal with both the positive, negative, and gray parts of their past and present. A labyrinth in Greek mythology is supposed to be a confusing structure with twisting paths, and in these paths there is a formidable foe. Specifically in Greek mythology, that foe is the Minotaur. Thus, the labyrinth represents a dangerous place that is confusing and scary, but also a journey of overcoming one's past trials. It is a spiritual journey. As the World History Wikipedia states on the labyrinth, as one traveled through the labyrinth, one would become increasingly lost in reference to the world outside and, possibly, would unexpectedly discover one's true path in life. Thus, the labyrinth is a symbol of change and transformation. And for your character, or yourself, is about how you are confronting your past and the uncomfortable present that you have to embrace. For instance, I played a character named Parsons, an awkward young man who clearly has a restrained relationship with his family and community. Here are 2 entries I made for Parsons that capture the game and the gameplay loop. Are these catacombs that I've entered? One would think a place like this is scary, but there's something sacred about this place. It makes me think, why didn't my family keep record of him? My mom always said it was for her to hold on to. It was her obligation. I suppose it was hers to carry. But who the hell is going to be the one to record it all if she can't do it? Entry number 3. Fear. These tunnels, they go on forever. These blasted damn butterflies led me here. Their exotic lights and achromatic effects. I want my mom. In my head, I keep telling myself to survive. But what comes after surviving? While the gameplay loop is simple, there is so much you can do with this. I think this solo RPG is wonderful for creating/getting ideas for your next PC. It creates a scenario of a character or yourself dealing with your past trauma, tribulations, and feelings, and the inevitable climax as you reach the end of the labyrinth and face your past. And that is why I love solo role-playing games. It doesn't need a lot of pages or papers or even other people to tell a compelling story. All you need sometimes is to explore the world, explore the deepest reaches of your mind. Or you could avoid all that personal issues and personal drama and instead hyperfixate on your next D&D campaign's ending. And I have the perfect video over here. And if you like this video, feel free to like, subscribe, and comment if that is your thing. As well, special shout out to my Patreon supporters Jakibi, Harrison Parker, and Paul Volpe for your continued patronage. You too can support my Patreon down below in the description box, or you can check out my Ko-fi as well in the description box. And as always, I'm your average everyday queer host, Blurdy Disposition. Be all have an awesome day. Ciao!